In managing databases, you want to be efficient in how the data are stored. There are three main normal forms, and the first one is the easiest to understand. Basically, that means you can only put one piece of information per record field. So this example here, where these are the fields and these are the records, this first field is okay. It only has one piece of information. Second one, only one piece of information again. Third one, again, no problem. It's this fourth one that has an issue. It is showing two pieces of information in one field. The reason you don't want this is there's no way to actually query the specific item. So if I only would like to see the list where the degree is an MSc, I can't do that because it's buried within other data. So what you need to do is separate this out. And the example here, what they do is create another table using the primary key to list all the items. And that way you can have as many degrees as you'd like, and it's only a single field with a single value in each. But in this case, it's a many-to-one relationship where Joe here, employee number 111, has 2 degrees. And you'll notice that the Joe employee has no degrees, so no entries show up. So this is the proper way to model the data. Now there's real-world examples where this comes into play, and unfortunately a system records the data in that way. And in this case, it's Survey 1-2 with the select many type. Here's an example of a Survey 1-2-3 form that uses that. And if you go through and select these, what will end up happening in the actual data, it's stored in a single field with these 4 items, comma, separated. Looking at a result that's exported from Survey 1-2-3, this is different data, but you can see that here. So in this case, you can see that there were 2 flags set on this one record, and you can see it's comma separated. There were 3 on this one, etc. So how do you fix this using SQL? It's a little bit more challenging, but effectively we're going to follow these same steps. We're going to create a new table with the values spread out and remove it from the main table. The first thing we're going to do is create a table that will house this new data. And it's going to contain a couple of different things. It's going to contain the primary key, which in this database is this global ID. And the second thing it's going to contain is just the flag. And we're just going to be using the exact same name that you see here. So I'll go create a new table, and we need 2 items. And we're just going to design this using the design view, which is a little bit more robust, and we'll call this one flags table. And the first field, the name, this is going to be an internal identifier, auto number. That's fine. That's just to uniquely identify each record. The next one is going to be our global ID, which we just need to duplicate the same type as in here. So if we go design view, global ID is short text of 255. So global ID is short text of 255. So we're good there. Now the next one we're going to create is going to house the values from this flag. And you can see the flag is always in the same format. It's tree underscore flag underscore and then a number from, it looks like 1 through 9. So that is 3, 4, 5, 9, 10, 11 characters. So if we make the field available with 11 characters as a text, short text of 11 characters, we'll add 1 just in case there's ever a future another, like a number 10. So we'll just add a little bit of padding. Okay, so there's our empty table that has nothing in it. Now, effectively, what we would like to do, I'll do one manually just to show you before we actually write it as a SQL. What we're going to do is take the value out of here. So we'll take this example, tree flag 9, from this first entry, which is tree flag 9. And then we need the global ID for this record. Let's make that bigger so we can see the whole thing. And that is our first record. So we'll make that bigger so we can see it. And this one also has a second flag set. So we go back over. So tree flag 4. So we need that. And then we're going to paste the same global ID. So that now fixes this. And if we relate the two tables together based on global ID, we'll see that. Let me show you what that looks like just to be able to see the data back together using a query. So create a new query in the query designer. And we'll drag in our example survey as well as our flags table. By doing that, immediately this already sees that the global ID is in both of these tables, and this is a primary key, so it creates this line for us. So it makes things a little bit easier. And what we'd like to do is show from the survey table. Let's show the old one. This needs to be a little bit bigger. We'll show the flags. And the second one, what we'll do is show the flag from this one. And you can actually do a little bit of a hack. I'm not sure if you've seen this. You can just double click that. And let's just show the global ID from here as well. And currently, this join type is an inner join. It means it'll only include where rows join each other. So we should only see the example we just put in. And there you go. So you can see the original, and you can see it merged. So you can see this one is written twice because there are two records for this single global ID, but the flags now are written out. So this is the proper database way to be able to deal with a first normal form and breaking the data up. Okay, so now that we've done this manually once and tested our theory out, let's actually do this for all of the data and build this out. So I'm going to delete these two records because I don't want to have anything populated in this table, and we'll use a SQL query to do the entire thing. We'll close this. And what we're going to be doing is creating a new query again. And first of all, what we'll do is just start off with a very basic query just to query the result, just to see if we get the first part working. Then we'll create an update query to be able to populate the other item. Okay, so very first thing, we need our example survey, and we would like to do this step by step. The easiest way, and there is more than one way to do this, we can actually do it. Just find the column, select any tree flags. We can do this literally step by step. We're just going to do tree flag 1, tree flag 2, tree flag 3. We're just going to do it step by step to go through them all. So we're going to have to run this query multiple times to be able to do that. Okay, so the very first thing we're going to do is we want to select where tree flag 1 is in this string. Where select any tree flags like, which is a wildcard, and we're going to select, and in this case we're using, I believe, the percent. So we're just trying to find any entries. There you go. So remember those wildcards. We're using ANSI 92 format. If you're using normal access, it would be a star. And we want to find any one that has the first flag, which there are a couple. As you can see, it's working. So literally what we're going to do then is convert this where clause to do an update and force it to write this out. It's not the most efficient, but we'll only have to run it 9 times and all the data will be updated. So let's go ahead and do that now. So we'll create another new query. And this time it will be an insert query, which they're calling an append query. And we're going to be appending the data to our flags table. And we'll just view the SQL. So as you can see, they're calling it an append, but it's an insert into flags table. And then we're going to select the field to be able to do that. So what we're going to be doing is populating the data into this flags table. And we need to populate the global ID and the flag. So we need the global ID and the flag. We need those two columns. So these are what we need to select out of our other data to be able to populate it. So we're going to be selecting, and we've already done an example select here, so we can literally just grab this query, because it's pretty close to what we want. Make sure we only have one ending. And we're going to select this. So this doesn't line up with the global ID. We need to return two columns here. So the other column we need to return is our key field, and then this field. But this field, if you remember, contains everything. So there's a trick here. We can actually hard code the data, just literally put in quotes exactly what we want to have happen here. So tree flag 1 in this case. So this allows us to insert into this table new records. It's going to insert the global ID and flag every time in the main table it finds a tree flag 1. It'll put the global ID first from that data, but only if tree flag 1 is found in that select any tree flags where there's multiple. The cool thing about this, if you run this, it'll run it and permanently change your data. But if you view it, it just tests it out. So this doesn't permanently change the data. This just takes a look at what's going to happen. And this looks right. It's going to have the global ID for those two records, and it's going to insert tree flag 1. So I've already checked that. That is correct. So now what we can do is go back to SQL view. We can click Run, and you can see it's going to append those two rows to our flags table. And if we just go back here and hit F5 to refresh, you can see they're added. So we just keep doing this. We're not doing it record by record. We're not doing it for the global ID. We're doing it for each flag, which in this case there are 9. So we need to run the same query again, but now we need to change 1 to 2. If we run this, so that looks right. So go back to this, we'll run, and now you can see it'll insert 10. Go back to the actual data. Again, it's not refreshed. I have to hit F5 on my keyboard to see it, and you can see it's 2 is done. So you can just keep running this query for each one of these. Three, 4, 5, and 5. 6 and 6. Because you're manually entering this, you really need to be careful that you're not going to make any mistakes though, because if you make a mistake here, you could change the data in a way that you didn't intend, and there's no way of going back. These are permanent changes. So make sure you have a backup of your data. And then 9 and 9. And there we go. So now my flags table has been populated with 150 different flags for the data. And this way, some of them will be multiple, and if we sort this by the global ID, you can see how they're together. And you can do a quick sanity check, or a check to make sure that they're correct. So if we go find this one, 4, 6, and 7 should be on this global ID, as you can see. So if we go back to our original data, we can do a quick search on, let's do it on this field, find. Okay, so this is the field. Let's just go through, make sure. 4, 6, and 7. 4, 6, and 7. There you go. So now we've updated our flags and normalized it. So we could remove this select any tree flags, and now we have a relationship A many-to-one relationship built, solving that first normal form problem, and now it's properly normalized.